Hey, before I begin to review these two chapters, all I gotta say is, man, someone gotta throw Ida in jail. Like, bro, is this the female Hisoka? Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, come on, bro. Like, listen, I do like Ida. I like her character. I love her character design. I like her abilities, but I don't really like this. Like, it's kind of weird, bro. We don't really know her age, so it really is on some sus shit. That's some FBI open up, man. But I do want to talk about these last two chapters because I actually didn't get to the time to review Boruto chapter 62. So for today's video, I'm going to be reviewing both Boruto chapter 62 and 63 to make it up for you guys. Of course, at the end of Boruto chapter 63, it looks like Boruto has awakened a new Otsutsuki transformation, which is going to be very interesting, and that's something I really want to talk about. So without any further ado, if you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe and hit the notice for more Boruto content like this. And yeah, let's get straight to it, man. So of course, coming off from Boruto chapter 61, we know that Kawaki has left the village. He has used an ability that the Otsutsuki can utilize, which is the ability to erase their presence. And the only person that can sense that Kawaki has left the village is of course his brother Boruto. Boruto also being 80% Otsutsuki, since they both have the same Otsutsuki DNA, Boruto is the only one who knows that Kawaki has left the village. Kawaki, of course, we know that he has the Shadow Clone Jutsu, and this is where he left a Shadow Clone behind to make it seem like he hasn't left at all. And of course, Boruto is the only one who can sense him. And despite Boruto telling Naruto and the guard, I think his name is Nishi, that Kawaki has left, they don't believe him. And it's kind of weird because as Boruto tells his dad, it seems like Naruto is doubting him. Which I'm not gonna lie, as a Hokage, you have to think about all the possibilities. He's going to need other factors to agree with Boruto right away. I find it very weird because Boruto is definitely not the type of person to just go against the Leaf Village. I find that very weird from Naruto. I'm not gonna lie, in this chapter at least, I don't agree how Kishimoto is portraying Naruto, especially these past two chapters. I'll talk about the one other issue I had with Naruto in chapter 63 when I get there, but in 62 I find it really odd that Naruto is doubting Boruto right away and can sense that, yo, he's plotting something with Kawaki. That's kind of a weird thing to do, especially with Naruto, man. Like, I feel like that's something that Naruto would do in the beginning of Boruto, because especially in the beginning of the Boruto anime, when Boruto told him, yo, I have some sort of Byakugan, and Naruto doubted him, I feel like this is something that Naruto shouldn't be doubting Boruto on. I don't really agree on how this was portrayed, at least in Naruto's perspective. I understand that he's Hokage, he has to understand all the possibilities, but it's your own son, and I feel like he should have a lot more faith in his son when it comes to believing something like this. After a while, it seems like Boruto is right. Kawaki has left the village. Despite him leaving a Shadow Clone behind Nishi, the sensory system that was guarding the Uzumaki household, he does inform Naruto that, yo, Kawaki has left. His chakra trace has disappeared, and they're not able to sense him. And even though Naruto's like, yo, let's go find Kawaki, Boruto knows where Kawaki is, because the fact that he can sense him due to the wavelengths and the resonation of the Otsutsukification, meaning that Boruto can sense Kawaki, whereas the others can't. So this is where Boruto is going to go off to find Kawaki using that same chakra hiding presence ability. And despite Boruto using this ability, he is planning to allow his chakra to be known so the adults can sense him, so they can help both Boruto and Kawaki come back to the village. And we know that Kawaki, when he left the village, he was planning to meet Code, and this is where Code comes in, and they have a brief scuffle. And because of the insane power difference between Kawaki and Code, Kawaki has no chance. Code is absolutely cracked. Despite him having the limiters on, he is very powerful. And even according to Amado even said, even with the limiters on, fought either Naruto or Sasuke, they are most likely going to die if they fought Code, even if he has the limiters, which shows you, yo, Code is nothing to play with. I know Naruto and Sasuke lost their major sources of power, but even without those insane sources of powers that Naruto and Sasuke have, Naruto and Sasuke are still cracked. They're still arguably the two strongest shinobi in the ninja world, and with Code being that strong according to Amado, he is nothing to play with. So of course, when Kawaki and Code get into their fight, Code's in control the entire time. Kawaki can't do anything, and obviously we know with Code he has a hit list. Of course, with him worshipping Ishiki Otsutsuki, knowing that he has died and gotten the Otsutsuki will passed on to him, he wants to exact his revenge on Ishiki, which of course is getting the hit list on Naruto, Sasuke, Boruto, and Amado. He has nothing to do with Kawaki due to his infatuation with Ida, and Ida wants to get with Kawaki, so he's not really going to touch him. However, Kawaki does have a plan, which in my opinion as a reader, I find mind kind of stupid, but at least in his perspective, he looks at it as sensible. And with Kawaki, he does propose to Code that, yo, don't touch anyone in Konoha, just kill me. I was the one who actually killed Ishiki. I stomped his life out. However, Code just doesn't give a damn. Just looking at this shows you how far Kawaki has come. Due to his love for Naruto, he is willing to do absolutely anything, to the point that he would rather get himself killed to protect the likes of Naruto and the rest of the Leaf Village. And at least through Code's perspective, he looks at this plan as ridiculous. He's like, yo, this plan is kind of trash. It's whack as fuck. You're gonna come all the way out here just to tell me that whack ass plan. Then he proceeds to beat on him even more, which I'm not gonna lie, it hurt, bro. At least as a reader, I'm willing to call out Kawaki's plan. It's kind of stupid. I understand why he's willing to do it, but it comes off as selfish for Kawaki because despite him doing it for the sake of Naruto and the Leaf Village, it's just gonna get himself killed. And Code tells Kawaki straight up, yo, even though I have this hit list on the people that I want to kill, this is just the start of it. This is just stage 1 of what I'm gonna do. As me getting the Otsutsuki will, after I kill the people on this hit list, everyone's gonna die. Him killing the people that he wants to get his revenge on for Ishiki's death is just a start on what he wants to do. He has farther and greater plans. So in the end, at least according to Code's plan, everyone's gonna die anyways. No one's gonna live unless you escape to another dimension, which I feel like is foreshadowing to the first page or episode 1 of Boruto, where Kawaki says, I'm going to send you where I sent Lord 7th. Now I understand that sentence has many interpretations. Some people interpret this sentence as, yo, I'm gonna kill you just like how I killed Naruto, or other people interpret this sentence as, I'm gonna send you away to another dimension just like I did with Naruto to fulfill my plans. Of course, episode 1 or page 1 of Boruto still has so many things that we don't know about. All of this is just headcanon and assumptions. We're still nowhere near close to that scene as of yet. I just feel like that's a little hint of foreshadowing toward that very moment of the beginning of the series. And that's all I wanted to say about that. And toward the end of the chapter, the GOAT, my boy Boruto, finally pulls up to save Kawaki. Code was about to take away Kawaki to have him meet Ida. My boy Boruto kicks Code out the way and makes this grand entrance. So that was Boruto chapter 61. Overall, it was an okay chapter. I wasn't a fan of how Naruto was written and him doubting his son, but at the same time, I did like the brief scuffle between Kawaki and Code. It was an overall alright chapter. It was sort of another buffer slash setup chapter for the next chapter after that. So let's go straight into it. Boruto chapter 63, which I'm not gonna lie, this is probably my favorite chapter of this arc so far. Ida is going crazy over Kawaki and Boruto at the same time. She even says they have a special bond between them, which she even says she's jealous of. Of course, she is simping hard over Kawaki due to the fact that, at least according to her, she just wants to get with him. And like I said before in Boruto chapter 62, with Boruto's intentions, with him being with Kawaki and Code, allowing his chakra to be sensed, he is currently waiting for the adults to come so they can help him out in this situation, which is definitely understandable from Boruto's perspective. This is the difference between Boruto and Kawaki. Kawaki is willing to do whatever he can to make sure Naruto is safe. Boruto is doing something that is much more sensible and much more reasonable, which is to get the adults. Due to how insanely powerful Code is, Boruto kind of has a sense of how strong he is due to the fact that Kawaki was getting his shit rocked. So of course, if the adults come, they have a much better chance of fighting Code. And while Kawaki is there, he tells Code, yo, I know there's someone with you. I just want to meet them. Take me to them. And of course, Kawaki doesn't know who it is. And while Ida, when she hears this, her pants becomes to get wet, bro. She is getting wet as hell. Of course, she is simping hard over Kawaki. I mean, I just gotta say, bro, we gotta know how old Ida is, because if she's like 16, right, 16, 17, that would make sense because Kawaki's probably around that age, right? That would make somewhat of sense. But if she's over age, bro, I'm not gonna lie, throw that bitch in jail, bro. It's just so weird. I mean, she does look like a grown ass woman, so if she is grown and over the age of 18, I'm not gonna hold you, that's kind of fucked. Like, even though Kawaki tells Code that, yo, just take me away to the person that wants to meet me, Boruto butts in right away. He says, you're the one doing that, Kawaki. Don't you get it? Dad would never do something like this. Kawaki then replies, you're the one who doesn't understand. I'm doing this for Lord 7th. It doesn't matter what he thinks. Like last chapter, it's sort of like foreshadowing to page 1 or episode 1 of the flashback we got in the very beginning of Boruto. It's sort of like Kawaki is willing to do whatever he can to make sure Naruto is safe. He even says it doesn't matter what Lord 7 thinks. So I'm thinking like, yo, this is some sort of foreshadowing right here. I know it's very subtle. I might be grasping at straws here, but this is sort of building on Kawaki, and this is the elements that Kawaki has in his character. He's willing to do absolutely anything. You gotta remember, during the Ishiki saga, when they were fighting Ishiki, Kawaki told Ishiki straight up, yo, I'd rather be dead with a world without Lord 7th. If Lord 7th dies, so do I as well. I don't give a fuck. I have no will, I have no meaning if Naruto dies. And that's how far Kawaki loves Naruto. Amado even describes Kawaki's love for Naruto as madness, which shows you how far Kawaki is willing wanted to go. Naruto is the only person that ever gave Kawaki a chance to live. He was the first person to ever give him a purpose in life, compared to Ishiki/Shigen and his biological father. It does make sense on what Kawaki's doing, but in a way, it is very reckless for a sensible person like Boruto. Boruto is seeing this as, yo, this is fucking ridiculous. What are you doing, bro? And I understand what Kawaki's trying to do. I understand his intentions through his perspective, but as a sensible person, it's very reckless. It's only get yourself killed. There's a way where everyone can be alive, everyone can stop this together. And this is Boruto's perspective. And this is where Boruto punches Kawaki. And I really like this because it's a cool callback from part 1. When Team 7 was fighting Orochimaru, Sasuke told Naruto straight up, yo, get out of the way, let me handle it. And Naruto punches Sasuke to the ground. It's sort of the same way with this. And this is where we get to see Boruto's love for Kawaki. Not in that type of way, but his understanding and how much he feels about his brother. He tells him, yo, I understand that you want to protect Naruto, but bro, at the same time, I gotta protect you. I gotta make sure you're okay. That's why he punched him in the first place. And before we even get into the battle, this is where we jump back to Naruto. He's trying to talk to Ino and Nishi, the other person that's guarding the Uzumaki household, and they tell him straight up, yo, I can't find Boruto either. I feel like this could have been written better in a way. Naruto, he does have Sage Mode. This doesn't require Kurama or anything. If he's really trying to find both Boruto and Kawaki, he could have just easily used Sage Mode to sense him. I just find this a inconsistency in this area because Naruto is very good at sensing other people when it comes to using Sage Mode. We saw this in the 4th Great Ninja War when the war was going on and when he was on the island training with Killer Bee on how to use the Nine Tails power. After he got out of training, using Sage Mode, he sensed the entire war being hundreds and thousands of miles away. He sensed everybody. He sensed people dying, he sensed people fighting, he sensed people healing, he sensed everything in the 4th Great Ninja War when he was thousands of miles away using Sage Mode only. So I find it kind of weird that Naruto just doesn't pop on Sage Mode and sense Boruto and Kawaki right away, considering that Boruto is deliberately allowing his chakra to be sent. Of course, he did use that ability to erase his presence to get out of the village, but now that he's outside the village, he's allowing his chakra to be sensed. He even told Kawaki straight up, he said this out loud, my chakra is going to be sensed so the adults can come. So I find it weird that Naruto just doesn't pop out Sage Mode. He can easily sense the two of them and find them right away if he just uses Sage Mode, but for some reason he doesn't. Maybe he isn't actually able to use Sage Mode anymore, which I find it kind of weird since that doesn't really require the Nine Tails. I just felt like that was a plot inconsistency. And not only that, Boruto's mother Hinata, she has the Byakugan. I think it was stated in the middle of Shippuden, she has a 10-kilometer radius in terms of sight. If Boruto and Kawaki are outside the village, I'm pretty sure they would still be in that radius. She easily would be able to see that Boruto and Kawaki are in this direction and they would be able to find them right away. I just found this as another inconsistency in the manga. It shouldn't be this hard to find Boruto and Kawaki. Of course, despite them leaving the village, Boruto is allowing his chakra to be sensed now that he's outside of it. So I find it weird that Naruto isn't using Sage Mode to sense the two of them. Alright, so then we jump back to Boruto versus Code. Boruto is utilizing his karma, and we know that there is a huge power difference between the two of them. If Kawaki wasn't able to fight on Code, I didn't really expect Boruto to do anything. Despite him having the Karma Seal, knowing that the Karma Seal is a huge power boost, I knew it wasn't enough to even fight the likes of him. I do want to say that the choreography was pretty solid. I do have my criticisms for Ikemoto as a mangaka. I know some people are very critical of him. I have my own critiques as well, but for this battle between Boruto and Code, I would like to say that the paneling was somewhat nice. I really did enjoy reading this fight. It was actually visually pleasing. So I think my favorite part is when Code swipes at Boruto. Boruto then throws some shuriken which get behind Code, and this is where the shuriken actually was a substitution jutsu for another Boruto. And I really did like that transition. It was actually pretty clean in my opinion. I did like how it was portrayed, and this is where Boruto did lightning style thunderbolt, and I would like to say that it looked very clean. The impact of it, the speed lines on how it was utilized, it was actually pretty good. And the only thing I would say is the impact of it. We did see oh, there was some damage, but I think it would be much better if we saw some more environmental damage. This is a problem that I've always had with the Boruto manga. Sometimes they don't really show the environmental damage of these jutsus, and knowing how strong Boruto's lightning style is with an added on boost with karma, I would like to see just a little bit more damage from it. We just got a very small spread of the impact of Boruto using the jutsu. I think it would be a little bit more impactful if we got a bigger spread of it to see how strong that jutsu is. Of course, I did feel the impact of him throwing it. I think it was drawn very well, but in the end it was useless as Code just dodged it easily using his banned ability. And this is where Code activates his white karma, where then he begins to beat the shit out of Boruto. Obviously, like I said, Code is in a different league compared to Boruto and Kawaki in terms of power, so the fact that he adds on his karma on top, it's a one-sided fight at this point. Boruto isn't able to fight him on. He gets destroyed in about 2 pages, which is reasonable, right? It makes sense. And this is where we get even more information on the karma, which I would like to say this is my favorite part of the chapter. I actually really like this because this is where we got even more information on just how the the karma seal works. I'm surprised that Amado didn't talk about this small plot point where Code explains the karma's true essence and how it actually works. And we find out when it comes to the karma seal, not only does it have the Otsutsuki's present, and knowing how old the Otsutsukis are, Code says it gives off a millennia of combat experience when a karma seal is granted to its user. And that is a crazy power boost, and if you don't know what millennia is, that is about 1,000 years. So the fact that the karma's true presence gives over 1,000 years of combat experience, it makes the vessel itself a very seasoned fighter. This is how the karma users become stronger, utilizing its true presence, becoming an insane powerhouse. And this is sort of implied before. Knowing how strong the karma seal is, we saw when Kawaki awakened his karma against Garo, he received a huge and insane power boost when fighting Garo, but it doesn't seem like he gained 1,000 years of experience, so to say. He did become a lot stronger, he became very strong compared to his base form, but he didn't become so insanely powerful. Same thing goes for Boruto. When Boruto gained his karma seal, he definitely became a lot more powerful, but I wouldn't say 1,000 years of experience to become a seasoned fighter. Of course, both Boruto and Kawaki are demons when it comes to fighting, but I wouldn't say they've become like insanely over the top powerful with the karma seal itself. However, Code does say that if you're able to draw the karma properly, you'll instantly become a seasoned fighter. And this is where Code says, yo, show it to me, I know you got more, show me more of the karma seal. Of course, we know that Boruto has another version of the karma seal, which is his so-called Borashiki form, but more or less this is just Momoshiki taking control over Boruto's body. And this is where we get Boruto's new Otsutsuki transformation. He has activated the true essence of the karma seal, and now he has become a seasoned fighter. Now that he has a millennia of combat experience, this is where we're going to get the actual fight between Boruto versus Code. And I'm actually really excited because if he does have access to Momoshiki's combat experience, which is a lot considering that Momoshiki has already eaten tons of chakra fruits at this point, Boruto is going to become a demon. In fact, this form of Boruto might be even stronger than the Borashiki form, because when you look at it, Borashiki is actually handicapped. Despite him becoming insanely powerful, he's always out of chakra. He can't really fight at his full capabilities, especially with the fact that he can't absorb ninjutsu either. We saw this when he was fighting Sasuke. Borashiki couldn't absorb any of the jutsu or else Boruto would awaken, but now this form is different. We don't see a horn, we don't see Boruto's left eye closed. We see both of Boruto's eyes are open, meaning that Boruto is in control of this form, which I gotta say, it's very exciting. And now at this point, Boruto is in a whole different league in terms of power. I feel like no 12-year-old Genin when it comes to Naruto, when it comes to Sasuke, Kakashi, Itachi, with the fact that Boruto has access to a millennia worth of combat experience, no one's coming close, man. That's the GOAT right there. And I'm just so happy that Boruto got this, because we finally got the shift in power in terms of who is going to be the focus now. Because for a while, I would like to say that Kawaki was the focus. I know Boruto's the main character and he has gotten a lot of great moments in the Kawaki arc, but Kawaki has been the focus for more than half of the manga. And of course, this isn't really new, because at least in Naruto and Naruto Shippuden, Sasuke got a lot of screen time and he got a lot of focus, to the point where you can even argue that Sasuke got even more focus than Naruto. But now I'm glad we're passing the baton onto Boruto, because he is the main character. We're finally getting the main character to become that guy again, and I'm so happy that we're getting Boruto as the focus again, because Kawaki has gotten a lot. It's been great, but I feel like it's time for Boruto to shine now. It's time for him to become the main character, because he's the main character. It's time for him to become that guy again, and I love this, man. I'm actually glad the manga is turning up again. Of course, we've gotten a lot of buffer chapters between the Ishiki saga and now, but I think the build-up has been worth it. I think that next chapter, all I'm gonna say is that it better pop off. This chapter was very enjoyable. This is my favorite chapter ever since the end of Ishiki's death at the end of the Ishiki saga, so I'm definitely looking forward for next Boruto chapter. I feel like these last two chapters have been pretty solid. There was another problem that I had, and that was the art itself. Now, I wouldn't say the art was bad by any means, but there was some panels, there was some noticeable errors in the last two chapters, especially like there was a panel of Naruto and his head was way bigger than his body. Like his head proportion compared to his body was ridiculous. Like he looked like a bobblehead, bro. There was an error where Boruto doesn't have his karma seal on. There was another panel where Code, you couldn't really actually see his tattoo. These are small errors that I noticed when I was reading the manga. Maybe you guys saw it too. I just want to say that these errors will most likely be fixed when the volume comes out. This isn't really new in manga. Many mangakas tend to have these type of mistakes, and they always get cleaned up when the volume comes out, because this is where Viz Media, whatever company that publishes said manga, they always clean up the author's mistakes. For example, in Jujutsu Kaisen, the author Geji Akutame, there was a time where the author was having health issues, and despite that, the author kept drawing and was still releasing chapters at the time, and you could see that the author was suffering. Due to their health concerns, the manga art wasn't clean, it was very dirty, it was very rough, and then when the volume actually came out for that specific chapter, it was cleaned out, it was cleaned up, sharp, it looked much sharper, and it looked much consistent before the author was suffering. These mistakes, so to say, these small errors are going to be cleaned up in the actual volumes itself. So I feel like this isn't nothing to fret over. I understand that some people are like going crazy over it, but I feel like these mistakes shouldn't be happening. I understand maybe Ikamoto, I don't know his situation, we don't know anything about him, whether his assistants didn't catch on or maybe his editors didn't see it, I don't know. Like I said, these mistakes will be cleaned up in the future volumes, and this isn't really new. We saw this after the end of the Ishiki fight. When everyone came home to Konoha, there was a panel where Naruto's whiskers were missing, but then it was cleaned up and it was fixed in the actual volume itself. So it is what it is. Those are the two chapters, Boruto chapter 63 and 62. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this review. I did a double chapter review due to the fact that I was busy with college, schoolwork got in the way, I had exams and shit, so I wasn't able to review last chapter, so I just decided to review both chapters at once. If you're already this far in the video, I do appreciate it. Please hit that like and subscribe button because it does help out the channel and the algorithm. So let me know what you think about these last two chapters in Boruto. Are you excited to read the manga again? Because I know some people were telling me that they weren't a fan of the pacing, which I understand as well. Despite having these buffer chapters, you're gonna get some slow pacing, of course. This is something I did expect. I wasn't expecting Kishimoto to go back into the crazy action right away. You had to set up your characters first, and I felt like Code and Ida are being set up well. Now I feel like we need to get the payoff right now. With Boruto awakening this new Otsutsuki transformation, this fight needs to pay off. I feel like Ikamoto needs to be special in this fight. I'm hoping we get some unique panels next chapter and some new information on this new transformation that Boruto has recently acquired. I'm really hoping we get to see it because I do want to talk about it more. I want to make more Boruto focused videos about his character. So let me know what you think about this video and these last two chapters in the comment section below. So if you like this video, hit that like button, subscribe, hit the bell as well, and have a good day. Peace.